Welcome to episode 78 of the Lovoni and Sarah podcast. We're so glad you're here with us each week as we explore holistic ways to enhance our health and wellness, nurturing both body and mind. Join us as we dive into ideas for living a simpler and more meaningful life. I'm Lovoni.
And I'm Sarah, and today we're talking about how to curate a life of simple living. How do you simplify your life? This topic could have its own podcast, so who knows, perhaps it might be one day, but for today, we're going to share with you what we're doing on working to simplify our own lives. With simplicity comes less stress, less to worry about, and usually less chaos. How do you reduce the overwhelm, be more organised and less frantic? And what does it really mean to lead a life of simple living? Tune in to find out.
Before we dive into a simpler life, let's check in on our challenge from last week. Sarah, could you remind us what it was and what did you nail the challenge or not?
So the challenge that I had set was to dress each day that represents the real you, because we were talking about dressing for ourselves and how it represents us. I did dress mindfully each day, so I did well at not just picking something up, grabbing it and thinking, oh, that will do. I did intentionally choose what I was going to put on. But I have realised that I'm not really in love with my current set of clothes at the moment. I don't know if that's because of my size or whether I've just got bored with them. I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it, a bit like, no. So I'm going to add that to my list for something to think about, actually, whether I choose myself a few more, some key pieces or change what I've got a bit more. But yeah, I just didn't feel like it was really me for whatever reason. So
Hmm.
I didn't really, love what I was
Time
wearing.
to do a bit of a purge, a
I think it
closet
is.
purge, do you
Yeah,
think?
I think it
And then
is.
that way you can maybe pick some things out and think of things that you could
They weren't
put
really
with
things that
them.
I love, when you go, I like them, they're okay, but I didn't really love it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Okay. Time for a purge. No,
Mm,
I did. Even though I was just feeling like crap and all hell was breaking loose,
yeah.
I still did that. I really try and do that every day,
And
even if I don't see anybody in the day.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you like what you've got, do you?
I like what I've got. I don't quite fit into everything,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm getting there. But I
Yeah.
like what I have. And, in one capacity or another, it goes together. So,
Yeah.
but that's taken me a while to get to that.
Mm-hmm.
And, I did a really big purge in my closet.
Earlier in the
And my
year, wasn't
makeup. It's not just your clothes, it's your
it?
underwear,
Everything. Mm-hmm.
makeup, hair care products, all of that. Skincare products. Yeah, when we moved, did the reno. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about
Mm-hmm.
mine. And you know, I try not to have too many things of just like schlepping around stuff.
Yeah.
I've got painting clothes and then things maybe that are okay for the garden, but mostly it's stuff that I could put on and go to the
Yeah.
shops or whatever.
Yeah.
Or go out.
I mean, all my
So
stuff's good. I just wasn't really digging it for
yeah, you
some
need to
reason.
be well, because if you're feeling it, then you're feeling it.
Yeah.
Like it just
Yeah.
shows, it comes out rather than, and it doesn't have to be anything,
I felt like it
unless you
was
like that
wearing
sort of
me
thing.
rather than I was wearing it, if you know what I mean. I was just a
Okay.
bit like,
Right.
but
Right.
I love this jumper, so this is still one of my
I do too. I
staples.
like that. I
Yeah.
like that on you.
Mm-hmm.
You got like a white tee or something
Yeah,
under
just
it.
underneath, just because
Yeah, I
it just
like
sort of
that.
lifts it a little bit. But yeah, this is still one of
Yeah.
my favorites, so that's good.
Is
I
that
have
is
still
it
got some things.
emerald? Is it
Yes,
emerald
an emerald
green?
green. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
one of
Well,
my
I'm
colours.
really into that.
Yeah.
Yes. Living a simpler life might take some work and planning initially, but with some patience and perseverance, you can create more serenity in your life by embracing simple living. One of the very first things that I think for people, and these, I guess, people that just work regular hours, not night shift, is establish a good morning routine.
Mm-hmm.
That I think can be, it sounds a bit over the top, but I think it could be almost life changing. It can be a big game changer. I focus on keeping it simple and on the basics. And I get things done the night before, like my clothes, like, just setting stuff out, like
Mm-hmm.
whether it's, if I'm going to juice, I get the juicer and I put it, there
Okay.
ready.
Mm-hmm.
I have Ramsay's bowl ready, and just little things like that can make a big difference to the
Mm.
day, especially when you've got a lot to do. But, so what's your do you have, like, one big go-to
I think the
for a
thing for simplifying and for easy living is definitely having a place for everything. So
mm,
there was a time in my life where I wasn't anywhere near as organized as I am now, and I'm still not perfect by a long stretch, but I can remember, it's particularly at the beginning of when I was sort of starting my business. And my son often recounts the stories of I used to have huge, massive boxes delivered full of my product, and there was nowhere to put them. So the kitchen was floor to ceiling full of these boxes. And then the
right.
chaos that then follows that, because you can't get to the cutlery drawers, having to climb over boxes. It was only him and
Good
me.
grief.
We couldn't get things out of drawers. We couldn't get things out of cupboards. I was getting to sit on boxes sometimes. I was, it was, and then he couldn't get his school shoes and trying to get ready in the morning to get off. This is when he was very young, so off to primary school. And where's this? Where's that? And the stress and the angst that it causes because
Mm,
nothing was in its right place. Whereas now I really try to know where things are, to put them away back to where they should be, even though it creates more work for me. But in the long run, it definitely helps. And I think
right,
that
keeps
is
you organized.
one of the tick lists for me for this simplified life is to know where things are, and it's got its place, and so when I need it I can go to that place, get it out and put it back again, and it feels so calming. Even things like, it brings me such pleasure, which some people will find very sad, but I don't care, when I pack my garden away. If we've had a lovely sunny day, I get all of the cushions out for the seating and for the table, for the chairs and everything. Even the little rug that I put out, I go and get it out and I put it away every single night, whether it's going to rain or not, because it keeps it
Right.
nicer for a start. You never know in this country whether it
It
is
is
going to.
England, so you just yes.
Exactly. It prevents it getting so dusty. And I've created a little storage space where everything has got its place and it goes back exactly like that. If it doesn't go back like that, it doesn't fit. So
Right.
in it goes. But it actually genuinely brings me a lot of pleasure because I'm thinking that's really organized. It's really easy. Tomorrow, when I want to get it out, or next time when I want to get it out, I know exactly where it is. It takes 5 minutes at
It's
most to
not
put it
buried under a
away.
load of gardening
No, and
shit.
get it back out
Yeah,
again tomorrow, and it's fresh for the next day when you get it all organized. So things like that, I would say, yes, the organization helps creates reduce, helps to reduce the stress, but also I think it helps bring some enjoyment, because the things that you've invested in for your garden, let's say, you're looking after them, they're kept
mhm,
nicer, you get to enjoy them longer. It gives you a little bit of enjoyment every time you set it all out in the morning and make it look nice. So I think that's part of simplify and simple living and curating this life that you want, is to look after the things that you love, have less of them probably, but then you
definitely.
but then get the enjoyment out of them, rather than it being
Right,
just slinging them, well, that will do. You create this nice simple life that you love, isn't it,
mhm,
when you get the things out that you love? I don't know about you.
yeah. No, definitely. I think too, like you were saying, being organized and not having the clutter and putting things away makes a really big difference, I think, to the less stress and creating a simpler life. I say touch something once. So if you get
Hmm.
a bill comes in, or if it's junk mail or whatever, touch it once. Don't put it in a pile and think, I'll deal with it later.
Hmm.
Either shred it, file it, recycle it, bin it, whatever you've got to do, but just don't just have a pile of it.
Yeah.
So that's what I try and do. Even like, if you take his shoes off, put them away
Hmm.
rather than just leaving them
It's like
out.
having a set place where you put the car keys, so that tomorrow morning you're not
Right.
like, scooting around trying to think, where have I put them?
Trying to
They just
find where they
always
are.
go in that one place. And again, nice that you don't have to think. It's just so
Mhm.
simple because you just go to
Yeah.
that place always to pick it up. Um, I think one thing
I'd
that you,
love to do that. Like, I would just really like to help people,
yeah,
like, get bit more
get
organized and
organized.
declutter and just simplify their life. I just think that I would revel in that.
I think my
Yeah.
two areas where I don't yet achieve the simple life is clothes, not so much my own, but my son has got a lot of clothes, and I think washing and ironing and, you know, getting it all dry, and that whole process creates overwhelm for me, and that would become a
Right.
lot less if there was less. So I think,
Right.
but even
Mhm.
within my own, that's definitely an area that I need to get better at. And food, you know, I feel like we've talked about this before, but it's so much
Yes,
easier
it's
when
on
you
my
don't have
list.
so much. You know, if
Right,
I've got
yeah.
cupboards full of tins of things, I'm just like, oh, and then it's hanging over me knowing that they're there and I haven't used them. The fridge is too full
Mhm.
for me to see what's in there. I need to get better at that. And I don't think I eat as well when I've got more things in the house, because I feel that I've got too much choice and
Right,
I
and you
don't
get
know what I'm
overwhelmed.
doing. Yeah. And then I end up eating too
Yeah.
much because I'm like, oh, I'll have a bit of that and a bit of this and a bit of that. And then all of a sudden you're thinking, I didn't need all of that. It's just because it's there. So
Mhm.
for me, those are definitely two areas that I need to get better
So
at to
that's
sort
like
of curate this
a
life.
right. So and that's a couple of things. That's meal planning, but before you do that, have a look at what you've got, like, in your fridge or your freezer, and
Hmm.
then maybe building some meals around that. But definitely, I think meals and food is a big thing where people could, simplify their life.
Hmm.
Every meal doesn't have to have a whole lot of ingredients in it or a whole lot of vegetables as long as you're eating, your nutrients over the course of, say, a week.
Yeah.
It doesn't all have to be in one day. And also what I like to do is, maybe have a couple of meals that are similar, where you can
Mm.
make something and then, reuse it or just
Have
to
the rest
use stuff
leftovers the
up.
next day. Yeah.
Or just, to use stuff up. But I think, you know, definitely meal planning, big difference, makes a big
Hmm.
difference to do. But as well as those obvious sort of tangible things like that you can see, I think other ways of, well, for me, simplifying my life is like getting rid of toxic people in your life, people that
Hmm.
create drama. So say goodbye to those people. So I've done that. Um, I've set times where I don't use my phone. Like in
Yes.
the morning, I get up and I do like make my bed, I do a workout, get Ramsey fed, shower, da da da, all that. And I try to stay off my
Hmm.
phone in that time. And I think that makes a difference having and in the evening I do the same thing. So just, being mindful of that and, not constantly scrolling and wasting time and then getting stressed out by all the bullshit that you see
Yeah.
on there. That helps. Were you gonna say something?
I was just thinking also, it's one thing at a time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that in itself,
Focus.
so if you're exercising, you're not on your phone at the same time, or
Right.
if you're, you know, if you're doing something else, I think just having that quiet also
Hmm.
helps. That I think just
Yeah.
helps create some mindful time for you that, you know, gives you that space to think, but also try not to think sometimes, because this is what we've talked about before, but I'm
Hmm.
definitely guilty of. I'm doing something, but my mind is already thinking about the next
About
job
the
or
next
thinking
thing.
about something to then I need to try and get sort
Yeah.
out. And I'm like, just stop. The worst case is if you wake up in the night and then your brain starts to ping off into all the things that you're trying to plan or
Yeah.
worry about or whatever. But I think that slowing down is definitely one of the key things. No matter what you're touching or doing in your day, try and just slow down a bit while you're doing that. Doesn't mean be ineffective. It doesn't mean going so slowly that you're not doing the job that you need to do, but actually sometimes you are much more effective
Being
if
in the
you
moment.
don't try and over rush at everything. Um,
Mhm.
and, you know, at the weekend, I was really, really, really busy. And I think there was a moment when I thought I was highly stressed and I tried to unpick it and thinking, what do I actually feel? Am I stressed or am I feeling something else? And I think for me, that's part of this curating this simple life as well, is really understanding me a bit better. What is it that
Mhm.
I'm feeling? What is it that I want? Why am I doing this? Why am I feeling that? And as soon as you can tap into that a bit more, you suddenly start to do things with purpose a bit better, I think. So I realized
Right.
that what I wasn't stressed, is I'd overdone it. I'd been so busy all
Tired.
weekend. I was tired and I was
Yeah.
just
Drained.
exhausted. Physically, I was just
Mm.
like, I need to just stop now.
Yeah.
It's
Have a
enough. I'm
minute
drawing
for
a line
yourself.
underneath it. Yeah. What I've done is enough and it's not going to get done the rest of it. So let's just draw a line. Um, and then I could then create time to enjoy something. But we were talking about this, but we need to talk about more. Do people include in their life enough things that they enjoy? Because I don't. I
Like
don't
reading, crocheting, well, that's
relaxing.
for me anyway.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
relaxing. I
Yeah.
don't include that because I find it really hard to relax when I know that there's jobs to be done. And
Mhm.
so I feel that I haven't got the ability or the right to relax until I've done everything first.
Right.
Now, it does feel nice when they're all done. However, the reality is it's never going to all be done because
Right.
there's always something. So where do you draw that line? And I think that's another secret to
Prioritizing.
a simple, slow living life is to then say, I accept that I'm not going to get it all done. And
Right.
if you look at
Right.
people that are really happy and enjoying themselves, it's because they've made that commitment themselves, going, I know that that washing needs doing, or I know that the garden's got weeds, or I know, but I've chosen not to do that right now. I'm going
Right.
to do this instead, and I'm going to give it my all, and I'm going to enjoy it. Whereas I find that hard, and I still would do the other thing possibly, but in the back of my mind, I'm going, oh, but I need to rush off and I need to go and do this and I need to be somewhere else. I always feel like there's somewhere else I should be. And I
Yeah.
think that's
There's
another
always, like you
secret.
said, something to do.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think a secret is to try and be present in what you're doing and give yourself permission to say, I'm going to leave something because I can't get it all done.
Mhm.
And that's how people that are enjoying their everyday seem to, make the most of it.
Right. I mean, there's a difference between doing that and just procrastinating and not doing anything,
Oh, yeah.
which
I
I think
mean,
sometimes the
yeah.
overwhelm can lead to that,
Mm,
to
yeah.
learning to say no to things, like if people ask you out maybe,
Yeah.
or just things that you really don't want to do.
Mhm.
And you don't have to give some
It's prioritizing your
excuse.
time, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, just say no, thank you, but no. It's all you have to say. And I think also setting boundaries, by doing that, you are setting boundaries,
Mm.
but setting boundaries. Another thing, and people may not think of this, but everybody seems to be in everybody's business and worrying
Yeah.
about what other people are doing. Like, just focus on you and what you need to, and your kids or whatever it is that you need to worry about. Just mind your own business. I think
Yeah.
that is something that people just create drama
Yeah,
sometimes, I think,
definitely.
for the sake of drama, and it creates, anxiety and all the rest of it. Just keep it out of other people's business.
And I
If they
think
don't like you or they're doing something, as long as it's not hurting you, just let them,
And I
you
think if
know?
you, off the back of that, can still also let go of, don't sweat the small stuff, let things go that really
Right.
don't matter, that
Right.
actually you reduce the drama in your own life by about 50% because you just think,
Mhm.
does that really matter? All right, it might be a bit
No.
annoying, but and I think
Yeah.
it's choosing what you prioritize, it's choosing what you worry about, it's choosing what you put your effort and your time and emotion into, isn't it? And then
Right.
if you've reduced, almost decluttered that as well, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you've got more time and space and love and
Mhm.
energy to put into something else because you're not wasting it on all the other things that really don't matter anyway.
Right.
That
That
is a,
that's
a key thing to try and master, but I think it's easier
yeah.
said than done.
Well, that's something else I said, is to stop living in the past, like look forward, or live in the moment, but stop looking back. God, I mean, there's so many people that do that, and are the victim, and like be the victor, not the
Hmm.
victim. That will help you simplify things. It's complicated and stressful and messy when you have all of that, I think.
Yeah.
Stop spending money unnecessarily, that's another thing.
Hmm.
So many, because, that creates stress. Do you need it? Do you actually need it? Because there's the want and the need, of course.
Hmm.
Is it something you really love? And, will it fit? Is it something that will go in you if it's for your house, whatever? You need to ask yourself questions or wait a while. That's what I've
Hmm.
been doing. I've got some things in a cart, and I'm like, okay, I don't really need all of that. So
Hmm.
I'm just gonna go back and get rid of like most of it really, and there's gonna be about two things left.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, because pay bills on time if people, can. Like, don't spend money unnecessarily and then not be able to pay your bills. That complicates life, I think.
Hmm.
I know that. And another thing is, and we've all done this, is to stop falling for all the influencer ads
Yeah.
online. There's so many of them. You think, oh, maybe that foundation's better than mine. Maybe that wrinkle cream is better than mine or something. There's
Yeah.
so much and they're getting paid to say it. Maybe they do like it, but you
I
don't have to
suppose off the
buy
back of that
everything.
as well is letting go of perfectionism, and we've talked about this in an episode before, but
Right.
for me, that's what
Yes.
creates such a lot of extra, because I
Yeah.
always feel that if I'm gonna do something, I need to be the very best that I can be at doing it, or try and, make it great and all this sort of stuff. Now, there is
Right.
something to be said about putting effort in and striving
Mhm.
to
Oh,
be
of
your
course.
best.
Yeah.
However, there is also something, and someone said this a few weeks back, and I was a bit like, "Oh," her husband said to her, because she started up a new hobby, and she's a bit like, "Oh, well, I don't know where I could go and sell it or do this, that, and the other." He said, "You can just do it just for fun, you know. You can do it just because you enjoy it." And it
Right.
really struck a
Right.
chord with her. She's like, "Oh, okay." Because in your mind, often we're all now about it having to be successful or the best, or you're
Mhm.
selling it or you're doing it. There is something that you can do just because you like it. And it doesn't have to be the best. It can be just because you've
Mhm.
had fun or you've enjoyed doing it. And I think letting that go, which is all bedded in with fear, with shame, with other people's judgment on you.
Mhm.
Talked about this many times before. Letting all of that go, suddenly things
Doing it for
are a lot
yourself because you
simpler
like it.
just because
I
you like
like
it.
that. Yeah, that's really good.
Just because
And
you like it. Yeah.
because you like it. Because I am excited. We've talked about me and after I come back from my Europe trip of starting up YouTube and I've been worried about not making it wouldn't be perfect or as good as I like, but it's something I really want to do. So I need to just focus on that and
Mhm.
doing it because I want to, not because it's going to be perfect or a big money maker or anything like that.
I wrote
Being
down,
mindful of your thoughts, that's another thing,
yeah, being
definitely.
mindful.
Of
Um,
just what you're thinking and your time and not wasting time. Now it's good to have time, like you were saying earlier, to maybe read a book or just have some downtime, but
mhm.
not wasting time. And that's usually a phone is a big time
Yeah, exactly.
waster.
Social media.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
but
Um,
just the
One thing I
thoughts
wrote
thing
down
is
was
a big
smile
thing.
more. If you can smile, it actually genuinely lifts your day. It makes you feel different. Other people smile back. It's a contagious situation. And if you smile, generally someone will smile back at you. It's quite
Oh
rare that they
yeah.
don't. Oh.
Excuse me. Same with
Or
yawning.
yawn,
Yawn,
exactly. And
yawn.
yawning.
Yeah.
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 I also wrote down experience, but not it's not just about things. It's experiences you have, not the things that you have. That's what makes
Right.
an enjoyable life, a happy life, a simpler life.
Mhm.
Remembering those experiences rather than being surrounded by things. It's the people that you're with, it's the places that you're at, isn't it? Those are the things which I think make a big difference. Or a family meal, for example, like a Christmas meal. Yes, the food's lovely, but it's the memory of having everybody together, not the food that you're eating half the time, isn't
Mm.
it? So it's those sorts of things I think are what
Mhm.
feeds into it too. What else did you think?
Doing things now. You know, there was a podcast, and I can't remember which one it was on, and you were talking about something bothers you, like there's something on the floor or a stain on the carpet or
Hmm.
whatever,
Or
and
the
it bothers
embarrassment,
you.
yeah, the embarrassment issue, wasn't
Just
it? Yeah,
is that was that one?
yeah,
Then just fix it, deal
uh-huh,
with it.
yeah,
So that was one thing
action.
I have. And the other one was stop procrastinating and putting things off because I think
Mm,
that then just takes up a lot of space in your brain. But I am all for simpler, and I think that I know this was said about fashion, but less is more. But I think that it's also the same in life because the more you have, because some people, especially here, I've found, and I'm not, you know, berating Americans in any way, but it's all about having stuff, and
yeah.
that's so important. But you don't, I mean, I don't know. I just find the less stuff you have, the less you have to worry
But
about.
does it really bring you happiness? That's the thing. You think it's going
Yeah,
to, but actually does
right.
it? And I think that's
And are
what you've
you
got to
gonna
balance
use
up.
it?
Yeah,
Too, that's the thing, and people with the boats and the campers and the quads and the golf carts. I mean, God, here everybody has a golf cart and they
right.
drive around town. Well, I mean, that's nice sometimes, but honestly,
Yeah.
Like,
How often?
ugh,
But I think this is
anyway.
part of curating, isn't it? So this is what we're saying. I think
Yes.
to curate your life, you've got to do an evaluation of what you currently
What
have
you and what
and
you
of and what
want
you want
in
it to look
out of
like.
life,
And
and what you want
basically,
out of life.
exactly. And then you just hold them up like a map and go, if this is what
Right.
I want, but not about things necessarily, if this is how I want to
Mhm.
feel, this is
Yeah.
how I want my relationships to feel, this is how I want
Mhm.
my enjoyment to feel, this is how I want my eating. You know, it's I think it's really far more emotive than it is about a tangible thing. And
Mhm.
this simple, curated happy life is how I feel within that life. And then I look at how my life is now and what are those changes I'm going to have to make to get me to this place where I want to be.
Right.
And I would suggest that a lot of the time it's going to be taking things away rather than
Mhm.
adding things in. So whether it's
Oh,
taking
such a
away
good feeling.
the people or the drama. So whether the people that create drama or whether you're making the drama yourself, remove
Mhm.
it. Whether it's situations where you're worrying about things that you can't control, so that's your own
Mhm. That
thoughts,
may not even happen.
take them away. Whether it's
Yeah.
overwhelm because you're trying to do too much in the time that you have. Number one, I would highly recommend, and I'm doing it myself right now this week, is time blocking so that I can then get a control of what time I actually have and how I'm choosing to spend it. And if it
Mhm.
doesn't fit in and it's not necessary, take it away. Too
Right.
many clothes, take them away. So it's
Yeah.
the same thing. Make this map of how you want to feel and what do I need to do to move from where I'm at to that, get rid of those things. And I was reading about this and it said that curating this has to become a deliberate action. This is not something that's going to accidentally happen. This curation of your
Mhm.
life, there will be things that you'll stumble across that you love, of course, that you didn't perhaps know or you hadn't tried before. But as a general rule, you're going to have to do things to make it feel a certain way. It's someone's not going to do it for you, the same as you've said time and time again, isn't it? With your own health journey, with your own work, in anything that you do,
Gotta put the work in.
someone's not going to suddenly do it for you and save
Mhm.
you. You're going to have to do
And
it. So,
it's gonna take more than one day to do that too.
gosh,
But, within
patience.
it,
Yeah.
patience and perseverance.
Yeah.
But, within that, you might find things that, you can get some more money, some money for. That's another thing too, and that's people think that what they have needs to, they need to get money for it and more than you have to be realistic if you're selling
Mm.
things.
Hmm.
Often I've just given stuff away because I thought by the time you advertise it and go through all that
Hmm.
hoopla, it's just easier to
Yeah.
donate it.
Mhm.
So,
Well, and
there's
you're doing
that
something
as
good
well.
too. You know, if you're donating it to
Right.
someone, then that's a really nice thing that you're doing too, which is adding
Right.
to you. That's adding to your well of happiness. And all right,
Yeah.
the money has got one value, you can do something with it, but are you just going to spend it on something else anyway? Or, the benefit and the feeling that you get from doing good for someone else, then that's adding to your
Mhm.
life anyway. So it's creating a balance, isn't it?
Right. But even like things like with a menu, if you're having people over, you don't have to serve them like 9 different things. Just keep it simple. And I
That's what I'm
love
guilty
that
of. Yeah.
about a lot of Europeans do that. I think you look at the French, the Italian, from what I can gather, the Swedes do it. Um, they just things are simpler. They don't
Mhm.
have to have a whole big spread. They can just, you know, keep it simple.
I think, and
But
also of all of that, and I'm trying to think about myself here and examples of things where people around me have brought negativity to something that I've organized or I'm planning to do, or they find all of the difficulties in the things, right? And I'm
mm,
like, you know what? It'll be fine.
yeah,
Unless there's a
yeah.
danger involved, of course, and I'm, not risk.
Well, you
I'm
wouldn't have
quite risk
done it
averse,
anyway.
exactly.
Yeah,
But it will be fine. If it's going to be cold, we'll get a blanket. If it's going to rain, we'll put
right.
up an umbrella. If I would rather do the thing and create the memory and maybe think, blimey heck, I was freezing, but never mind, I still have this great memory of
Hmm.
it, than not do it because of all
Yeah.
of the list of things that they seem to have rattled out about how it's not going to be okay. And it drains my energy and takes
When people are
every
like that.
part of me not to blurt out, oh, for the love of bloody God, shut up. Because I just want to
Right.
go, you're completely dampening the whole enjoyment of this by
Mhm.
all of the negative things. And normally that feeds into the drama as well. It's normally those people that are very keen on making a drama out of everything, isn't it? The ones that
Mhm.
seem to find the negative in everything. Whereas normally I'm just like, it's fine, we'll just do it anyway. And
Yeah.
and I
Just
think
roll with
you
it.
can cut through it like butter normally, can't you? Just go, well, we'll just do it anyway. And then there's not much else to say. That in
Don't you think
itself is
those
another
people
thing.
need to simplify? Like people that always feel compelled that they have to give people advice,
Hmm.
or you know, just if you pick something up in a store and they have to tell you why something's
Hmm.
good and something's not good, and like that's not simplifying your life. Just
Sometimes it's
shush.
better to say nothing at all.
It's often better. Yeah.
Hmm.
Same with
Yeah.
your partner, so it doesn't start a fight.
Yeah.
Just think, is it the hill to die on? That all helps to simplify your life, I think.
Mhm.
So,
Definitely.
what's going to be our simplifying your life challenge for us to
So,
do?
our challenge would be to choose, let's say, between 1 and 3 areas of your life and make a list of what you can do to create simplicity and then work at that list. So, we've probably got some examples. So, meal planning, which is something that
Meal
I
planning.
definitely want to get better at.
Yeah.
And I want to do some batch cooking because I've not done that for ages. And that
Right.
definitely simplifies my life. Um, Wardrobe, closet, clothes, or
Yeah.
getting organizing and getting those, doing a declutter on those. Again, that's something that I want to, not my own wardrobe, but just in general. And maybe have a good old tidy up, you know. So maybe go
Right.
into your office that you've been having a blind eye at for the last 12 months, probably, with the stacks of paper or the bit of
Right.
dirty area, and
Yeah.
have a good old close. Just choose 3. I've got plenty that I could choose from, but
Right.
that's
That's
the
good to just choose
but
3.
that's the thing, people, is the fact of not trying to do it all in one go, because you're going to create overwhelm and stress, and there's no point. We're supposed to be curating this life that we feel is a simpler, calmer, happier life, not one that you're now
Mhm.
creating as harder. So pick something, set a
Like
timer,
even a routine, a morning routine
and
or
just,
an evening routine.
yeah,
It doesn't have to take very long.
no.
It's not meant to be complicated.
And
People remember that.
enjoy it, because that is the
Right.
whole point to this this
Yes.
curated simple life should be and can be, and isn't a dream, it can be a reality of something that you enjoy. You're
Mhm.
living to enjoy, because the time is going to pass anyway, so you might as well enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Because you can either do it negatively or you can do it positively, and this is not
Mhm.
always easy if you're in a situation that's hard, from emotion or grief or pain or worry. However, this is, we're talking about the everyday life here, and you can enjoy it. You can enjoy the little things. You can enjoy putting your garden furniture out, and then, and how it looks. It's not going to be perfect. I've got a hole in my fence. If I wasn't going to go out there because there's a hole in my fence, then I would have missed enjoying that. It doesn't
Right.
have to be perfect. So yeah, that would be the one thing I would try to urge people to remember, is
Mhm.
to create a curated, simple life, is to start enjoying what you're doing and how you're living it.
Yes,
Amen.
definitely. Amen. Well,
Amen.
it does. It makes a difference.
Yeah.
And when you do something, think, is this part of my
Mm.
simpler living?
This is how I
Is
want to
this going to
be.
help or is it a hindrance?
Hmm.
Yes. Next week, we're talking about happiness. What can we do to invite more happiness into our lives? We all want to feel happier, but is it really possible? Join us to find out. Thank you for tuning in today. Be sure to check out our website, a fresh post every week, diving deeper into each episode. Find links to our Instagram and YouTube channel in the show notes below. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We truly appreciate your support. Until next week, bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.